بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى الطيبين الطاهرين. We continue our discussion. The next negational attribute of God is that al-ma'ani and ahwal would not be used or applied or attributed to God. But if I say ma'ani, meanings, you don't understand meanings, or ahwal, conditions. These are technical terms. So we have to explain what does it mean. السادسة في نفي المعاني والأحوال عنه تعالى, in negating, rejecting God having ma'ani and ahwal. Ma'ani means to say that God is a subject and then different qualities come to God, as if God lacks them. For example, alimun bi'ilmin. So ilm comes to him. Like us, our knowledge is accidental. It's not essential. It comes to us and can go away. Sometimes we don't have knowledge, sometimes we have it, sometimes we lose it. Qudra, the same. Some people had the idea that God's qualities are additional qualities for him. So ma'ani means this. Also, Amir al-Mu'minin, for example, in Nahj al-Balagha says, Kamalul ikhlas lah nafyus sifat. The perfect purification or unification of God is to say God doesn't have sifat. But does it mean that God doesn't have qualities? No. Sifat means that it means additional qualities. Ahwal is to say that God doesn't have knowledge because of additional knowledge, but to say God has knowledge or is knowledgeable because of alamiyya. Alamiyya. Or power, because qadiriyya. Alamiyya is a kind of condition which they thought it is neither existent nor non-existent. This is called hal. They had the idea that between wujud and adam there is a third condition. If you study philosophy, especially in Bidayah, for example, Nihaya, one of the things is that there is nothing between existence and non-existence, because these two are contradictory. Between them there is no other possibility. But these people, because they were not able to philosophically articulate it, they thought this is a good solution, to say this is something between existence and non. Because if they said alamiyya exists, then the question, where is it? I can see the person who has knowledge, I can see there is ilm, but I don't see anything as alamiyya. But on the other hand, you cannot say alamiyya doesn't exist at all, because we realize alamiyya is something that some people have, some people don't have. But of course, if you study philosophy properly, you will realize that this is a relational concept. That you abstract, it's intizar, you abstract from two things. We have ilm and alim, but by reflecting on the relation between them, we can abstract the concept of being knowledgeable. But being knowledgeable outside has no reality independent from knowledgeable and knowledge. Okay, so some people said God is alimun bi'ilmin. Some people said alimun bi'alimiyya. Both of them are wrong. God is alimun bizatihi, because of his own essence he has knowledge. Qadirun, not because of qudra belonging to him or because of qadiriyya. Qadirun, he has power because of essential power. So this is the sixth quality in negation of God. First, look at the main text. السادسة في نفي المعاني والأحوال عنه تعالى. In negating additional or accidental arazi, something additional, something accidental, qualities and ahwal, conditions. But conditions in the sense that I said, not conditions in another sense. لأنه لو كان قادرا بقدرة, if he was powerful because of a power which is outside him, outside his essence. عالما بعلم, if he was knowledgeable because of a knowledge. وغير ذلك حيا بحياة مريدا بإرادة. So if there was separation between God and these qualities, لافتقر في صفاته إلى ذلك المعنى, then God would have become needy. Faqir, iftaqara. He would have become needy. He would have become in need of that qudra, that additional quality. فَيَكُونُ مُمْكِنًا. Then wajib al-wujud becomes mumkin, because any needy thing is mumkin. Wajib al-wujud is ghani. As soon as faqr and poverty comes, it's mumkin. وَهَذَا خُلْفٌ. This is against what we have assumed. We are talking about wajib al-wujud. So this argument is for what? For nafyul ma'ani. But similar to this, we will mention for also nafyul ahwal, because again, if qadiriyya alamiyya is outside, there's a problem. Now let's look at the commentary.
You said nafyul ma'ani,
Meaning, but meaning in what sense? In the sense of a quality that is accidental, it's additional, outside God, external. أقول ذهبت الأشاعرة. Now if you study different opinions, you can understand better. ذهبت الأشاعرة إلى أنه تعالى قادر بقدرة وعالم بعلم وحي بحياة إلى غير ذلك من الصفات. Ash'arites had the opinion that God is powerful because of a power which is external. He is knowledgeable because of a knowledge. He is living because of a life. And so on and so forth. وَهِيَ, these knowledge and power and hayat, life, ma'an, qadimah, za'idatun ala dhate. These are eternal things that are independent from God. They have always existed. They are not created by God. So basically God needs something else. And also, as you remember, sometimes he said, actually this opinion leads to saying that there were 8 eternal things. Qudama thamaniya. God and 7 qualities. So it becomes 8 independent things. هي معان قديمة زائدة على ذاته. These are eternal concepts which are additional to God's essence. قائمة بها. But they belong to God. وقالت البهشمية. Bahshamiyya comes from Abu Hashim. Abu Hashim, so Mansub for Abu Hashim is Bahshamiya. Abu Hashim al-Jubba'i. So they said, إِنَّهُ تَعَالَى مُصَابٍ لِغَيْرِهِ مِنَ الذَّوَاتِ. They said God is similar to other things, other essences. God and other essences are the same. What is different? وَمُمْتَازٌ بِحَالَةٍ. The only difference is that God's essence has some hal, a condition. What is that hal? Al-uluhiyya, being God, deity, for example.
What does Mumtaz mean? What does Mumtaz mean?
Means becomes distinct, becomes separate, becomes different. It's distinguished by this. وَتِلْكَ الْحَالَةِ تُوجِبُ لَهُ أَحْوَالًا أَرْبَعَةً. So one central hal, one central additional condition for God is uluhiyyah. Then from this, four other hal come. Al-Qadiriyya, to be knowledgeable. To be knowledgeable or being knowledgeable. Yeah, they said this is hal. Alamiyya, to be or being knowledgeable, being powerful, Qadiriyya. Hayya, to be living. Mawjudiyya, to exist. What is hal? Al-halu indahum, according to Abu Hashim al-Jubba'i and his followers, hal is sifatun lemawjudin. It's a quality for something that exists, but this quality itself doesn't exist and doesn't not exist. So it's not existing and it's not existing. لا توصف بالوجود ولا بالعدم. Qadiriyya doesn't exist because you cannot point at anything and say this is Qadiriyya. And also you cannot say it doesn't exist because this is something that you can say God has Qadiriyya, God has Alimiyya. والباري تعالى قادر باعتبار تلك القادرية وعالم باعتبار تلك العالمية. Why God is Qadir? Ashar said God is Qadir because of Qudra. They say no, God is Qadir because of Qadiriyya. But both of them have this problem, a similar problem, and that means God in his essence lacks Qudra. God in his essence lacks, life, lacks knowledge. وَبُطْلَانُ تِلْكَ الدَّعْوَى ضَرُورِيٌّ. Falsehood of this claim is evident, self-evident. ضَرُورِي means badihi. Why? Because anything you imagine, either it exists or doesn't exist. We don't have anything in between. لأن الشيء إما موجود أو معدوم. إذ لا واسطة بينهما. There is no middle position between وجود and عدم, between existence and non-existence. وقالت الحكماء, what philosophers, والمحققون من المتكلمين, and those theologians which are very deep and profound and have managed to reach the depth of the issues, they say إنه تعالى قادر لذاته وعالم لذاته إلى غير ذلك من الصفات. They say God is powerful because of his own essence. God is knowledgeable because of his own essence, and so on and so forth. Yes.
Are these people mixed with Tawheed Af'ali? Mixing Tawheed Af'ali with Tawheed Zati? Because Tawheed Af'ali comes into existence when it's to do with the creation.
No, not necessarily.
Did I explain my question?
I hope.
Because when, for example, there is no creation to take the risk,
Yes.
then Allah is Razik in His
Yeah, but
essence.
what about alim? If they had mentioned Raziqiyya, Ghafiriyya, that's, you say, okay, you have been confused about Sifat al-Fi'l. But they say even Alimiyya, Qadiriyya, Hayat. So the problem is not just Sifat al-Af'al. Yes.
But Sheikh, what is exactly the problem when they are saying that it is sifa li-mawjood? It is a sifa, not something which exists or doesn't exist. It's a sifa.
Yes.
What's the problem with it being a sifa?
No, the problem is that it is accidental. But there is extra problem that it is a sifa which by itself is neither mawjood nor non-mawjood. So there are two problems here.
Treating it like material.
Pardon?
Treating it like it is material. Because they are saying it's mawjood and not mawjood. Or it's neither mawjood nor...
So there is a third condition between wujud and adam, but no one accepts because wujud and adam are contradiction. We cannot have none of the contradictory things. There is no middle position. Okay. Maybe you say, if God is alimun lidhatih, qadirun lidhatih, hayyun lidhatih, so all these qualities are because of His essence, then why these qualities are different? God is one. Why these qualities are different? We have discussed this in Tawhid Sifati. We said their difference is only in concepts. Otherwise, existentially, we have only one thing, God's essence, and His qualities are all the same, are identical in existence. Only concepts are different. Remember this discussion, Tawhid Sifati. وَمَا يُتَصَوَّرُ مِنَ الزِّيَادَةِ. What might be understood about, being additional, for example, when we say ذَاتٌ عَالِمَةٌ وَقَادِرَةٌ, an essence which is knowledgeable and powerful. You see there are three things that we are talking. There is an essence which is qadir and which is knowledgeable. It says تِلْكَ الْأُمُورُ اعْتِبَارِيَّةٌ. These are i'tibari. It's just in our understanding. زَائِدَةٌ فِي الذِّهْنِ. In our mind, we can separate God's knowledge and power from itself, from each other, and from God's essence, because they are different concepts. La fil kharij, but in reality, in the real world, the external world, they are not separate from each other. وَهُوَ الْحَقِّ. This is the correct opinion. لأنه لو كان قادرا بقدرة أو قادرية, whether it be Ash'arite view, لو كان قادرا بقدرة أو قادرا بقادرية, Abu Hashim al-Jubbai and others, and also other sifat like قادرا بقدرة أو قادرا بقادرية, لازم افتقار الواجب في صفاته إلى غيره. It would have implied poverty of God. God would not have these qualities in His own essence. God lacks these qualities according to them. لأن تلك المعاني والأحوال مغايرة للذات قطعا. These are separate from God's essence. Okay? So then means God needs them. وَكُلُّ مُفْتَقِرٍ إِلَىٰ غَيْرِهِ مُمْكِنٌ. Whatever needs another thing, it becomes ممكن, contingent. فَلَوْ كَانَتْ صِفَاتُهُ زَائِدَةً عَلَىٰ ذَاتِهِ لَكَانَ مُمْكِنًا. If God's qualities were additional to His essence, God would have become contingent. هَذَا خُلْفٌ. This is against our first initial presumption. Okay, we stop here. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. We have 5